introduce today's speaker, this morning's speaker. Her name is Miss Deborah Nicholson. She has a master's in nursing. She's a certified case manager as well as a palliative care nurse, but I would really like to focus on her time as being on the board of the Circle of Life Coalition. She's been on since, it's been 6 years, so I haven't done the math, but it's been 6 years, maybe 7. But she has changed the way the coalition, she's had a vision and a direction for the coalition that's taken us in a whole new direction, and it's been very positive. She served on the board of directors. She is now board president and has been board president now for 3 years. And we thank her very much for that because of her energy and her motivation and her dynamic ability to just present our coalition to the community in a different way. So with that, I'll give you Miss Deborah Nicholson. Thank you.
Thanks. So kind. What? Oh, he's taller than me. Yeah. I am not used to presenting without seeing my slides. So could you roll that card just a little bit? Lots of different things. I learned lots this morning, live and Zoom. I learned I can still get ready in 45 minutes, including makeup and jewelry. Working from home for a long time. I learned that my computer has really great sound. We appreciate the comments and feedback we've been getting in the Zoom about that. And in November's presentation, we hope to just have it nailed down a lot better. We'll have the panel discussion and everything too, but we'll be live as well. And it's nice to be able to look into an audience's eyes. It's very nice. So hopefully more of you will be able to come next time in our socially distanced masked way and looking at everybody's different masks. So as Gary said, I'm Deborah Nicholson. I'm a nurse care navigator for Tower Health. At this time, I've had a long career. Wrinkles tell the story. As a nurse, palliative care specialist, that's a passion in a way, but advanced care planning. And as you're going to tell by the presentation, advanced care planning is really, really what my life's journey has been about, in addition to palliative medicine. So if you could start the slides, we'll get this story going here. The Plan Your Lifespan, What Will You Do title came up because of the application, planyourlifespan.org. This is a free application created at Northwestern, thank you, University by Dr. Lee Lindquist and her team through the Feinberg Aging Community. There we go. They actually had a dream of people taking this, because all of it's free. These slides, most of them, I tweaked them because I didn't like the way they had it put together. I added some of my own stuff. They don't care. They had a dream of people kind of taking this together, creating teams of their own, bringing it out into communities, and helping people to plan their lifespan. They have it directed more towards the fourth quarter, as they call it. But I look at it also too, as somebody who's younger. You get a diagnosis of MS or ALS or something else tragic, or you're in a tragic accident or something that could be life-limiting, or you're going to suffer with, or not suffer with, but you're going to have it impact your life for the rest of your life. So how are you going to plan for that? And do we plan? So this is a little bit of the overview. I already gave you the background. What are the barriers to planning? What are some strategies? Navigating the application a little bit. We won't dive too deep into that because it's a lot. And any concluding thoughts. Just like planning anything, it's a lot. There's a reason there are wedding books, and that you sit with somebody to plan your funeral and so forth. So.
Yeah.
Other thoughts for next year? Uh-oh, what happened?
Oh, God.
The slides disappeared. Oh, cry face.
This is what I get. No, something came unplugged.
Something came unplugged. Oh, thank goodness. When we do post this on our website, Circle of Life Coalition, and on Facebook, we won't have these glitches in here. It will be as if it didn't happen.
All right.
Gary will edit this out
All right. Now,
from the beginning.
yep, from the beginning.
In the beginning.
All right. Hit your clicker.
There we go.
All right.
So what do we plan for? We, of course, plan for the baby. There's lots of details related to that. And we get 9 whole months to plan for that. Hopefully it's not a surprise. We've heard those stories of a surprise. And a lot of us who've been mothers would go, really? What did you think all that nonsense in your abdomen was? Yeah, gas pains? I don't think so. My second kicked the heck out of my bladder. We plan for buying a house. We save for it. You know, it takes a lot to get to our dream home, our first home, whatever. We do lots of planning for that. And then, of course, retirement, hopefully we plan for it. Hopefully we're able to save up for that and what those years are going to look like. Vacations, weddings, other parties, all of it in between. We take time, we enjoy it. Some of us savor the details of planning for those things. Right now for us, it's the wedding of my oldest daughter. It's just so much stinking fun. And when it's not fun, I get to walk away. You guys do that. You can ignore those details sometimes. And then as I kept this slide in here because they plan for, you know, the 4th quarter, we talk about that. So because that's just inevitable in life, whether it's the 4th quarter of our life, whatever the end of our life is, or whatever debilitating condition may happen to us, we should plan for that inevitability. However, do we? Not many of us do. Kind of hits us by shock. Roz Cast wrote a book about her life with her parents. She was an only child. And they had her later in life. And it's kind of funny cartoon book with some truths in it. But conversations like this happen in our family too. My children grew up with a palliative care specialist nurse, so there was lots of real conversations in our house, but it's still difficult to talk about stuff sometimes. And we still cringe sometimes and go into other rooms and either mad at each other or frustrated to do this. Phew, dodge that conversation, dodge that bullet. And certainly end of life conversations are no different. And planning for what could happen, they don't want to picture their mother not being able to tease them or do things for them or babysit or whatever. They don't want to talk about those things. So today, are we talking about end of life and hospice? Nope, absolutely not. We're talking about just what I've been saying. What will we do? What will our life look like? What do we want it to look like? And do we have choices if we can no longer live alone or live in our homes, or can we live in our homes? Will you be hospitalized? Will you fall? Will you develop Alzheimer's? And many of us in the community don't understand the trajectory that potentially could happen with their diagnoses. And that's just normal. There's many diseases that the trajectory is different for every single human being. And it's hard for healthcare specialists to predict. And the what ifs are just, you hear the worst, it's shocking, you need to hear it over and over, and you're just, it's just overwhelming, it's hard to think about. So many, many times, family, friends, your identified family, I'll explain that a little bit later, have to react to the crisis of your first hospitalization, your second hospitalization, your third hospitalization. They're kind of caught in a cycle, and you haven't been able to plan for the long term. So the identified family can be healthcare workers sometimes because they're all alone. They turn into their friends and family. The home health nurses, they pick the same agency and it happens to be the same nurses. So they have the real conversations. What are you going to do if you can't live by yourself? I'm going to live by myself. Or the identified family is the neighbor who's done things for them for years. because they don't have family, or they're estranged from their family, or there's a story you just don't know. They were adopted, they're immigrants, they're, they don't know, they don't even know if their own family is demised. So let's try and plan for these emergencies instead of reacting to them. Let's do our best to do that and pay attention to the details. Provide people with a voice in their future. And that doesn't mean healthcare workers, that means, all of us, for whomever in our lives. So for me and my children, for you and your kids, for everyone out there, let's do our best to try and plan whatever the circumstances. There are experts around you that can try and help answer the questions, but you're going to find as you explore things, you're going to become your person's and your best expert. You just really are. You're going to find out a whole lot more about your own communities and what really works and what doesn't, and what you have to navigate and so forth. And you're going to write that down and you're going to pass it along to other people. But together we can all prepare. There might even turn out to be advocates of you out there in the community that find something that's a little broken and help advocate for fixing it. Questions to think about. What will you do? So have you thought about what you would do if you really couldn't any longer live alone? Let's take our mind away from all the extremes some of us may have encountered in a hoarding situation or a condemned house situation and so forth. But you've broken your hip, you went to rehab, and it's just not safe to live in your 3-story home. Okay, well, can we make it first floor living? Those are the types of conversations to have before the broken hip occurs. What would those future living arrangements look like? Can you afford to do that? Whether other options are out there. So what are you going to do if you need help at home? What are the home help options? A little scary out there right now during our pandemic that can go on, the effects of which for years to come still. So what are we going to do? How are we going to rally the troops? And have you talked to your family or a power of attorney about what your plans are? So power of attorney is a scary thing. And if you say, what are the barriers? I don't have money for that. Oops. Oh, why did that do that? There we go. So some of the barriers are financial. Let's hit that sixth one first. I can't afford that. In Berks County, there's Berks Encore. And even if they figure out, we have free attorney services, but you could afford to pay them $50, they'll just tell you that. And you can get an attorney to help you with some estate planning or planning for your future. There's case management services through the Office of Aging that they do on a sliding scale. There are people in the community who will do that for you for free. Some social workers who will help you start that process or help you identify someone. So you just have to figure that out and figure out where they are. Or you can do it yourself also, some of it. The Berks County Bar Association has some resources also. All right, uncertainty over the future. That certainly is very scary. We all don't know what's going to happen to us once we leave here today. We have zero clue, but some people get paralyzed by that. Perhaps they could use the anxiety resources of our sponsor and her free first-time session. I'm too healthy for that. I'm going to live in my house till I'm 90. I've paid taxes and nobody's taken this away from me. You have to overcome some of the stubbornness, some of those things. Family and cultural influences come to bear. Denial and procrastination. Overwhelming, very overwhelming. You have to bite it off in little pieces. And pride. Oh, there we go. So some strategies to overcome those barriers. Meet people where they are and persevere. And hopefully you're not alone with it. So meet people where you are. Don't go in all gung-ho. All right, we're going to do this. We're going to do it tonight. Like I said, it takes 9 months to have a baby. It might take you a long time to get through the whole process. Might take you just gotta take baby steps with it. Whatever might seem easiest for that particular person. You hopefully know them the best and what may be easiest to tackle. Enlist the help of others if you can. Be very, very patient. And then the application has some aids, and then rinse and repeat. So with my uncle, he was a difficult man to discuss things with if he didn't want to talk about it. He'd go, yeah, I don't know. You know, I like to take pictures, you know, just to change the subject. And I would lose my patience. As much as I said to be patient, I'm like, oh, Richard, for the love of God, did you see what happened to my mother? We're going to do a living will. You know, like I would lose my cool. But eventually, you know, one day he called me up. He goes, I made an appointment at the bank. We're going to do a living will. We're going to do a power of attorney. So it is some perseverance. Could have done it better? Sure, but we're not perfect. We're not perfect. But then my children was like, you know, we kind of butt heads. Maybe we need to stick his most favorite people in the whole wide world on him, my children. And I did. And they did. They were grown and it helped having them as part of conversations. You just use the tools you have to have conversations with people about trying to help plan for their best lives and framing those discussions in that way. So bringing up the website, I went to this website, answering the questions. I don't have to read these to you, you can read them. Refer to a situation, or gee, like I did with my mom, you know, I'm doing okay now, but I'm a little worried. I've started that with my kids. They think it's manipulation, maybe a little, but I'm like, hey, I turned 60, soon I'll be 70, it flew by. You know, what's gonna happen? Let's plan for that. So I might be living with my oldest, not right after the wedding, but sometime in the future. We talked about that versus assisted living, starting having those conversations now in a lighthearted way so that we don't have to face it in a crisis. Okay, what time is it? Oh, we're good. Okay, oops. Okay, so a little bit more about the site. It was launched in 2015, nationally available with links to local resources. That's what's really cool about it. There's actually part of it in there where you put in your zip code and it takes it to the area office of aging no matter where you are. So say you're helping Aunt Margaret in Illinois, you put in that zip code, it brings up that local area office of aging. Phone number, address, it updates automatically, of course. So it's perfect. So that's fabulous. It's no cost. It will remain that way through a grant in perpetuity through Northwestern University. They update the website, which they're doing now, which I found out when I reached out to Dr. Lindquist and said, hey, I'm doing this presentation and my email thing didn't work. And she said, hey, let me get on that. So I'll talk to you more about that. And then it is secure and you can print a paper-paste version versus emailing it once you have a summary, and you can update it at any time. But they are updating the website right now. Okay. Is that my phone? Please excuse me while I go get my phone. And I did that because we're going to log in to it if this works correctly. So I can show you a little bit live besides the slides that, you know, this is recorded. So you can go through this as often as you want to kind of look at the slides, but hopefully you'll just log in. You can log in as a guest and go through it also. So that's a good point too. But there's a login number that you would get that you can put in the contacts in your phone that will work forever. But that's how I found out that the email part didn't work. They'll send you a link and you can log in with the link. with your email. So I suggest the phone thing at this point until they finish their update. There we go. So this is what it looks like. And you might be going, phew, they could have been a little more sophisticated with the graphics, but they really designed it to be easy and point the eye at key information. Again, designing it for the older person. And at the time, thinking back, that an older person might not be as computer savvy or cognitive function might be a little bit less. She and I have had discussions about that. Like, yeah, I get that research where you were basing that upon, but think about it now. Think about how old I am, how old, you know, how technically savvy folks really are now. But the graphics, you know, aren't going to change because eyesight does diminish and cognitive function will diminish. And if you want to keep someone independent in utilizing the site, you want to keep these graphics the same. So hopefully this link will work when I click on it. So it might not. There we go. Nothing's happening. Or not. No, it's not. Shoot. That's okay.
Sure.
Yeah, well, I wanted to show it how it worked, but it works at home. It always works at home. What's up with that? I even tried it like 3 times at home. Like, okay, it's really going to work. Like it just took you right to the website, bypassed the slides. You didn't have to do anything special with the slides.
I don't know if this works though.
Well, if you just go to planyourlifespan.org.
Yeah.
We'll just do that. Thank you, Gary. It's so good to have wingmen.
Yeah. Come on, baby, load. Chrome. There.
Yeah, always Chrome.
Mhm. It's
Most of the world's retired Internet Explorer.
all right.
That's all right. I sort of planned in case it won't work. You can do it on your phones at home while I'm talking. If you want, you can go to the site, but I will continue on. You can start down at the slide where
All
the website is.
right.
Always plan for the worst and hope for the best. Isn't that a palliative care statement?
Nope, not from the beginning, for crying out loud. All right. Current slide right there. All right, there you go.
There you go. So, all righty. So much for the show and tell there. But it asks you to put in your name, your email address. It'll give you a code, and then it'll take you to the site. These are the different addresses within it. It'll review hospitalizations, falls, memory loss and Alzheimer's, talking to others, and finances. So it really does take the user through planning for a hospitalization and rehabilitation choices. It explains it in simple terms, the different, acute rehab, subacute rehab, and physical therapy, inpatient, outpatient, and so forth, and in a sentence or two. What is covered by insurance, what it means, how many times a week you would get that. So you can see that it would take a little bit of time to go through that section. And that's, you're going to be too exhausted maybe to go through another section, just depending on your person. Let's talk about hospitalization. What do you know about that? Well, I go in, I'm in a day or two, I'm out. Well, we all know how overwhelming it is to be in the hospital, those of us in healthcare or if you've ever been in the hospital for a day, or just have a baby. I just had my baby. What do you mean I'm taking him home today? What? It's very overwhelming. You show me how to give that baby a bath. This is my first baby. Yes, I know I'm a nurse, but I did that in nursing school. Yes, please show me how to give the baby a bath and take care of that umbilical cord, so it's very overwhelming. So you're in a car accident, you wake up to the case manager and everybody else around your bed, or coming in and talking to you about your discharge, and what? I have 15 stitches on my leg, and you're talking to me about my discharge. You did surgery. What? It's very overwhelming. So it's good to have this as part of the tool. And every day in the hospital, it says here 2 to 3 weeks fully recover. 2 to 3 days, 2 to 3 weeks. You all talk to people, whether it's in your personal life or as a healthcare worker, who say, I was in the hospital for just a few days and it's a month and I still feel like crap. Yes, you do. You're not 100% yet. You shouldn't feel like crap. Let's talk about that a little further, but you're not going to be 100%. Not yet. You still have a ways to go. Home care might have stopped, but you're not going to be able to do your 2-mile walk yet, or maybe even go back to work yet, because you were in the hospital for a few days and it was serious. They also provide the link to the Medicare.gov Nursing Home Compare for your geographic location. You just put in your zip code and it'll bring that up so they can compare skilled nursing facilities, and home health care link also is in there. There is still this little video in there. The videos, part of the website update is the videos were from 2011. So they're putting more updated videos in there, but this one's still in there. So there are some real life people in there talking about different things, but right now without the new videos in yet, there is the transcript of the people and what they have to say. I just talked about all that, but that's what it looks like. You can see just a few sentences explaining subacute rehab and acute rehab. What choices can you make now? Well, you went to Medicare Nursing Home Compare, and you can write them in that little box. You can put down all the choices you might want. Now, we all know, I shouldn't say we all know, healthcare workers know. You can put choices in there, but that doesn't mean that they're available. So hopefully the people who are helping them with it know that your first choice might not be available if you need it. But you need to explore that. At least you know what your choices are. And if you don't go back to this, although you should every now and again, that you can go to Medicare Compare and see what they're doing, see what's going on. How can you find help at home? And again, the Home Care Association of America link, you just click there. They have it highlighted in yellow, very easy to use. And then the more local resources they have. I wanted to prove that the Berks County Area Office of Aging came up with the live one. They have in the Illinois one. Came in there, but it's really seamless with how this stuff comes up. And then it's easy to navigate the other sections. You just go to the top. I was even talking to myself the other day. I was so tired. I'm like, I just want to go to this other section, but it's really simple. It just tells you, go to the top, click on the section. And then it goes sharing your plan with others and how to do that. You can keep it private or share it. And then talking to others. And then it goes into home safety and how to make your home safe. And there's little check boxes of you can check it off if you've done it. All right. How to prevent falling, which is certainly very important. Whether you're 20 or 80. Preventing falls at home is important. How many 20-year-olds tripped over a rug and broken things? Lots of them. Yep, exactly. See, there's one in the audience, Zoom people. It happens. I once tripped over a cat. I don't know how I could have prevented that other than, that darn cat, but it happens, but rugs and so forth, they're pretty, but you really should have them taped down. And then long-term goals, like we talked about. Is your goal to remain at home? Is it okay for somebody to come in and help you? Do you want to go move in with somebody? Are you willing to move into a senior community? And what would that look like? And could you afford it? Now, within this site, I don't know if it's on one of these slides, to be honest with you. I was talking to others, but within the site, they talk about villages. Throughout the United States, there are various ideas of villages. Some are more sophisticated than others. The closest to us is in Lancaster, and it's a community of people who live in a city type setting, but you pay whatever per month. I don't even know what it is anymore. I used to know that. But you can call these folks to change light bulb, like you were in the hospital and you came home, maybe you have home health, maybe you don't, but you can't go to the grocery store, they'll go to the grocery store for you or do some light cleaning. It's what you pay per month to have people come and help you when you need it. And that's part of what you paid into that community, and you look out for each other. Some are a little more sophisticated than that, in that there are housing situations and you sort of buy into those villages. And the site takes you more into what that looks like. That video of that cutie isn't there anymore, but the transcript is. And then you can send your summary via email, and you can add a personal message. You will not put me into a nursing home where you're written out of my will. Tease your children. Or this is what I've written now, today's date. This is what I'd like, let's talk more. And then there's what I also wanted to show you was my summary page. If you chose to print it, which as you know, I'm paper, I don't like to use paper. So printing could be saved to your hard drive on your computer or onto your phone, into your Dropbox, into whatever that you use. But it includes who your doctor is, who your pharmacy is, what your home care choices would be, who your power of attorney is, your finance information, everything that you fill out within that form. So it's really helpful in the start. It doesn't hit all of the nitty-gritty details that you'll have to talk about, you know, filled out there, but who would pick up my mail if I'm in the hospital, who would take care of my bills if I'm in the hospital, that kind of thing is in there. So I apologize that we didn't get to do that live, but you could look at some of those things. Those slides hadn't been included in here, but I hope you all consider utilizing this for yourselves, for your loved ones, and pass it on. Maybe even coordinate your own little group of folks who will help people to utilize the site. So I think concluding thoughts, plan your lifespan, just do it, and you're not alone. Are there any questions? I hope I went over everything okay. All our glitches.
There are no questions online.
No questions. What? Okay. Nobody raised their hand. Okay.
I do have a question.
Oh, yes.
In speaking with, I don't remember the doctor's name, but I was spearheading this project. Have they indicated if there's any potential in the future for this program to add elements about post-life? What happens at the next step?
You mean funeral planning? Nope. They really, their research continues to be surrounding quality aging. And yeah, so their funeral planning, yeah, won't be on this. And the funding from this originally was through a PCORI grant. I don't know if you've heard of PCORI, but they do a lot of tons of different kinds of research. So that particular grant and research is over, but Feinberg Aging has gone beyond that. But the grant in perpetuity is just to support the website as it is. I've asked about translation also, like in Spanish, and they're like, well, if you know anybody else who would like to give some money, you know, kind of thing. So they would need another great benefactor to be able to do translation services for that. Epic, actually, I should have mentioned this, but Epic did also place this within the MyChart application. So anybody who Any health system who has MyChart can purchase that as part of their package. So anybody who has MyChart with Tower, you can link it to your MyChart. And you can share it with your, you can share it with your physician anyway, but it is part of the advanced care planning tab in your MyChart. And in the advanced care planning tab, you can click on to discuss living wills and so forth with your physician. And you can upload your advanced care planning things to your PCP. I do not know if Cerner or the other applications have anything like that. Unfortunately, I'm not privy to that information. But they certainly probably could reach out and get that application to parts of whatever their patient portals are. Because it's still free. It's just whatever the electronic health record vendors are going to charge them to have that in there. But the Plan Your Lifespan part is free. I hate seeing myself on camera, so I got a glimpse of myself. All right, everybody. Carrie.
That the only
Oh.
comment I saw pop up was, could you repeat the question that she had asked? They couldn't hear her because.
Oh, my apologies. She had asked if there was any thoughts to adding funeral planning to it, and there is not. It was a limited grant through the Picori Foundation. So that grant is done, and the further research with Dr. Lindquist and the other dozens of researchers at Northwestern are through quality aging projects.